Thanks for joining me for another installment of Dismantling Race. Um, this time I wanted to focus on showing some of the similarities to what I'm saying versus some of the greats, because our message really isn't that different. Even W.E.B. Du Bois said that the problem in the 21st century was the color line. And that's exactly what we're trying to address in this series on dismantling race. In this installment, we are going to go over a speech by Frederick Douglass. The speech was called Our Composite Nationality. And what we're going to do as we look at some of the lines in this speech, we're going to draw parallels to what our goal is. And our real goal is one country, one nationality, or one nation, one category, because it is the categories that separate us. And so we're going to begin with a couple excerpts from his speech. We're going to start with the real trouble with us was never our system or form of government or the principles underlying it, but the peculiar composition of our people. And when he says that peculiar composition, is he's talking about the racial categories, which are unnatural. And then he goes on to say the relations existing between them. And this is what we call racism. And so when we're talking about an unnatural categorization of people, race, and then the relations existing between these unnatural categories is what we call racism. He goes on to say we have for a long time hesitated to adopt and carry out the only principle which can solve that difficulty and give peace, strength, and security to the republic. And that is the principle of absolute equality. And so when you hear your greats talk about equality, did we not equate that to the same identity? Because in order to be equal, if we are coming from a white and a black and a this and a that, then that means that somebody's got to give up their old identity in order to share one collective one. He goes on to say, we stand between the populous shores of two great oceans. Our land is capable of supporting 1/5 of all the globe. Here, labor is abundant and better remunerated than anywhere else. All moral, social, and geographical causes conspire to bring to us the people of all other overpopulated countries. He says Europe and Africa are already here, and the Indian was here before either. He stands today between the two extremes of black and white, too proud to claim fraternity with either, and yet too weak to withstand the power of either. Heretofore, the policy of our government has been governed by race pride rather than by wisdom. That right there is really the American system, based on race and governed by race pride than by wisdom. And to eliminate race is to eliminate the categories that make it easy to have your countrymen at odds with each other. Until recently, he goes on, neither the Indian nor the Negro has been treated as part of the body politic. This has been codified in our law because ever since the inception of this country, only white people could become citizens. And so there is where your first real division comes in, because now we can treat people different if we're not the same, and some of us have citizenship and others don't. When some of us have a believed citizenship, where other races actually enjoy real citizenship. The policy of keeping the Indians to themselves has kept the tomahawk and scalping knife busy upon our borders and has cost us largely in blood and treasure. Our treatment of the Negro has lacked humanity and filled the country with agitation and ill feelings and brought the nation to the verge of ruin. Our treatment of the Negro has lacked humanity. The form that I talk about in the first class, SF 181, literally defines you as less than human. And so not only are you being treated less human, but by contract, they can treat you less human because you sign up to be the less human, to be less than human, to be the slave, to be the black, when race is voluntary.